Hello again. This time I'm back to do a few more exercises. I hope you watched my first video on trigger finger, and hopefully it has helped to cure yours. I also want to explain some of the reasons we develop trigger finger. First of all, let's warm up our hands. Stretch. Some of these are similar to the first video. I still have trigger finger in my right hand, and as you can see, with continuous exercise a couple times a week and being cautious of how I do my chores and how I do other things with my hands and fingers, I have actually cured it. Stretch the hands a little bit. Bring it up like this and just press. See, I curl the tips. If that's not possible for you, just do the best you can, keeping some pressure in that area that you're having the problem. If you can go up a little higher, you can go as high as you want. Sometimes when we go to the grocery store and we buy all kinds of things, we come home and try our darndest to take every bag in one trip. We need to stop doing that. Making a couple of trips with one bag on each hand or over your wrist, if they're fairly light, will go a long way in healing your trigger finger. And one of the obvious causes of trigger finger is our cell phone use. I don't think you realize sometimes that the amount of time we spend on our cell phones, texting, playing games, many other activities, how much damage we can do to those joints. And by switching how we use the cell phone, maybe switching fingers or using your hand differently, or just not using it quite as often, will also go a long way in healing your trigger finger. But after any chore that is strenuous to your hands, do some warm-up exercises before and after. Also, I don't know if you notice when you're driving how your hands are situated onto the steering wheel. Sometimes we have our thumb hanging over the top while the rest of our hand is at the bottom. Sort of like this, or like this even, and that can damage your fingers over time. We need to learn to clench a little more, use our full hand, or just make sure that everything's on the same level, as in with your texting as well. Make sure, maybe try keeping your hands together a little bit better, or you know, just for a while, just to get everything back to normal. Same with your rolling out pastry. You think that would be good for your hands because it is an exercise. But you have to know how to do it and be aware of how you're doing that. Because I tend to get cramps when I'm making dough and rolling out dough for baking. So beforehand, you could warm up, and afterwards, warm up your hands. And perhaps try another method where you're more with your hands are closer together. This exercise I find to be one of the most beneficial. You can close your hands together and push side to side. And then after a few of those, just bring it this way. As you'll see, I have this exercise also on my first video. And then I have another video where you use anything, a ball, a piece of fruit, and squeeze into it, and then roll over the ball. And always making sure that when you do this, you are putting pressure on the affected area. And mine was always here, my middle finger. And occasionally it still will hurt a little bit, but it hasn't bent. It hasn't stayed stuck for quite a while. It doesn't hurt, very rare, on occasion. It does still hurt. But that's because I may have done something unaware. Again, you always have to be aware. And also, mowing lawns, weeding, any gardening, wear gloves, exercising, weight training. You should always wear some kind of protection here. Some kind of glove with a padding. And always be aware. If you're doing exercises, make sure your hands tend to open instead of just staying clenched. This will send the blood flowing. So, there you have it. I do hope these work for you. And keep being aware of your chores and your fingers. Thank you, and have a good evening.